What's up guys, welcome back to another video. So I'm starting a brand new series on the channel where I showcase other people's retro collections. And today we're going to be starting with one of the best collections I've seen, the Nintendo 64. So this comes from another YouTuber, N64, and he has a full UK PAL collection. I'm going to drop a link to his channel in the description, so don't forget to check him out if you like what you see. And for anyone that wants to showcase their collection next, drop me an email and you'll find the address on my channel page in the description. Let's jump into it.
Hello YouTube, N64 here, I'm back. Thanks Home Gaming Productions for having me on the channel, it is very much appreciated. So yeah, why N64 then? Well, my first console was a Sega Mega Drive, but we got this second hand back in the day, and we probably had it past its prime. We had some good fun with that, and before long the Nintendo 64 was coming out, and yeah, I just liked the look of it really. There were some games coming out for it that were of interest. I had a friend over the road who had it back in 1997, and we went round his house in the summer holidays and he had 4 controllers. And we'd literally spend the whole summer just playing GoldenEye on 4-player. So just many magical memories with the N64. From that point onwards, obviously when I got an N64, I used to play with my brother and my dad. I had other friends that I'd go and play with, and you know, we just many nice memories of playing split screen, not just GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Mario Kart and so on. A lot of fun was just had in the N64, and it's one that's always had a special place in my heart. It's a relatively easy console to collect for in terms of game library. There's only 239 UK games. If you want to go for the full power set, there's some Australian exclusives, 3 exclusives and 1 variant, taking you up to 243. It's still relatively easy to collect for compared to like PlayStation, over 1,000 games on that system, a lot more fodder. So I believe the N64 is very collectible. There's something about the boxes, you know, the cardboard boxes, they're very charming. You have manuals, you have extra peripheral paperwork inside, the cartridge baggies. It's just something nice about Nintendo cardboard, isn't there? And so it's just very collectible. What's my story? Well, I started collecting for Nintendo 64 probably around 2014, started adding to my original games. Before I know it, I think I'd full setted by about 2017. I ended up selling my set back down to my original games, about 20 or so. And the reason for that was that the SNES Mini had come out, and there was talk about the N64 Mini potentially coming. I was a bit worried that it might dampen prices on what the current value of games were. It was that age-old discussion, you know, will game prices continue to go up? I was already sat on some quite nice gains on what I'd paid for a lot of my games. And when I sold up, I made sure I sold for as much as I possibly could, a lot going for more than what they were doing at the time because of the nice conditions I had. And yeah, in 2019, I pretty much fully sold up my collection just before the COVID spike, annoyingly. But I made a nice return on what I paid for it. I invested the money well, and little did I know that I'd need the proceeds later on to buy N64 games all over again. But no, yeah, so I sold up in 2019, invested some money, made a return on it. And yeah, it wasn't until about July 2022, kind of after COVID really, not during, and I started collecting again, started buying some games, and before I know it, I was full steam ahead, going for the full set again. It took me just over a year to get the full power set. It was about 14 months maybe in total, towards the end of 2023, I guess. And yeah, since then I've just been steadily upgrading any games that weren't in a condition that I'm happy with. And now I'm almost at a position where I'm happy with the condition of every game. There's probably like a small handful left that I'd probably like to upgrade, but a lot of them are difficult. You know, All-Star Baseball 2000, it's one of them acclaim boxes that really gets damaged really easily, lots of shelf wear, and yeah, it's going to be a long wait really to get that one in a condition I'm happy with again. Annoyingly, I had a really nice one back in the day, but yeah, such is a life as a collector. Collecting's a bit of a bug, isn't it, really? And I guess I had a bit of time away, and then I just caught the bug again, really. But yeah, I'm really happy with N64. I clearly have a passion for N64. I just love how it looks. And yeah, that's the reason why I collect N64, really.
A big thanks again for showing us your collection. So what was the most expensive game to get your hands on?
Which game was the most expensive? Well, that'll be Snowboard Kids 2. This was an Australian PAL exclusive. It did come out in North America as well, but in terms of the PAL regions, it didn't make it to Europe. It was only an Australian exclusive. And there's always been a bit of a stigma attached to this, really. It's always been very expensive. The price has sort of exploded over the recent years, but it's always been on a large trajectory going up in terms of value. I believe it will just continue doing so. It's always going to be one of those games to get in complete box that's expensive. It's actually not the rarest game at all, really. You can find them relatively easy in Australia. It's just going to be very expensive. There are games in the PAL library that are much rarer, but not quite as expensive, but they're on the way to being. Rat-a-tat, for example, that's been selling over 4 figures a lot recently, and that would be much rarer than Snowboard Kids 2. But yeah, it was about £2,000 I think I paid for this, GBP, and yeah, it's definitely the most expensive game in my collection. It's in beautiful condition. Yeah, I have no issues with paying that. I believe that it's just going to continue to go up in value. Yeah, it's always going to be an illiquid item. Who's got £2,000 in their back pocket that they want to drop on something like this? Probably not that many, really, but when you do come across one, I don't think there'll be much issue in selling it for that, really. So yeah, that's the most expensive game in my collection.
So what's your favourite game in this collection?
What's my favourite N64 game? Well, in my collection, it's GoldenEye 007 N64. This is pretty much red strip sealed. It has been sliced at one end, so it's not officially sealed, but this isn't my favourite item in my collection. My favourite is, I've still got my original GoldenEye sleeved N64 console bundle. It's actually in the loft, so I can't show it you, but it's got my original cart in. It's very, grubby on the label on the back, because it's been through a lot of hands and played to death, really. And that's the favourite item in my collection, really. The actual box and sleeve is in good condition because it was left in the loft most of its life, really. In fact, all of its life, really. It's rarely been out on display, even now. It's just sat in the tub in the loft. And that's the favourite piece in my collection, really. You know, as much as all this nice stuff behind me is, there's nothing more nostalgic than your original games, consoles and stuff like that. And I'm fortunate enough to have always kept my games in the main from when I was a child. So that's the most valuable to me, really. You know, things like this, it's nice to have and stuff like that. It looks really great and stuff. But, you know, I'd take my own cartridge over this all day, any day. So yeah, my original GoldenEye bundle for sure is the sort of jewel in the crown of my collection. Yes, it's not on display, but, you know, I don't want consoles on display in this room.
And one last question. How difficult was it to complete this collection?
Yeah, how difficult is it to collect for on a scale of 1 to 10? Yeah, I'll probably give it about an 8 or something like that. It's not the most difficult. It's one of the benefits to the N64. Like I said, it's a smaller library, more concentrated. 239 UK games, 242/3 for the full PAL set. Yeah, it's not that difficult to collect for numbers wise, but there are a lot of games within that that are sort of low print run, going up in price very like exponentially, really. Like Rat-a-tat, it's been clearing 4 figures now. Never used to be the case. So yeah, of course, like with any set, there are its rarities that are difficult to come by. The rarest UK game, to my mind, in the Zone 2000, it just never seems to come up. And then when it does, it's not really in the best condition. So if you're a fussy collector like me, even more difficult to come across. But yeah, it's very collectible. You probably just need deep pockets for the rarer games, which is the same like any system. There's games on the PlayStation that cost you £500 a pop, aren't there? Like Castlevania and so on. It's no different for the N64. It has its rarities. They're expensive. It's cardboard. The better condition you want, the more you're going to pay. It's as simple as that. It's not the most difficult. Obviously, second time around, I was a lot more knowledgeable. I knew which of the rare games, I knew which ones to target and get crossed off as soon as I could. It's all about networking in this game, and you need to make contacts to think outside the box, and you need to look outside the box as well. There's no point just keep refreshing eBay. That's one good source, but there's other avenues. You need to speak to collectors, get onto groups and speak to high-profile collectors. You never know when one of them's thinking about selling up, and if you're top of their list in terms of someone who they like and who you've been talking to and got a rapport with, then you might be the first to get a look in with anything they're looking to part with. And that helped with me on many occasions, really, just the networking side of it, having a good network of friends who look out for you and look for games and they don't need it so they can tip you off and so on. And so, yeah, that's all important information to keep on board. But yeah, it's not the most difficult to collect for, but it might get expensive.
Thanks for watching, guys. And again, a special thank you to N60 Fortress for sharing his collection with us all. And don't forget, guys, there is a link in the description of this video to his channel, so go and check him out.